everyone, this is Sahara Rose from Sahara Rose Travels. I just want to thank everyone who's been watching, sharing, and following all my videos that I've been posting. For those who don't know, my name is Sahara Rose. I run my own travel and business coaching and consulting business online, Sahara Rose Travels, in the hopes that I can help everyone who's following and watching live a life and create a lifestyle where they can travel the world on any budget, be their own boss, or live a life that's financially, spiritually, and time-free, just like I have created for myself. So today I just want to address one of the questions that I get asked quite often, which is how I'm able to fund all my travels. So for those who don't know also, I've been to 75 countries by the age of 30, all on my own funds, and I get asked quite a lot how I'm able to do that. So today's video, I'm going to tell you exactly how. So to get started, I just want to I categorize those into three core areas, which are before your travels, during your travels, and after your travels. So first, to talk about before you go, this is obviously the most important. I kind of narrow that down to three areas within itself, which are to maximize your revenue, which is your income, to minimize your expenses, and to save. So sounds kind of simple, but it can be pretty difficult, as many people might have problems doing so. So I'm going to tell you how I was able to do it. So to maximize your income, hey Gustavo, to maximize your income or your revenue, what I mean by that is try to find as many ways that you can make money. That's how I was able to do it. I became really, really good at being able to find all different ways to generate income, and then of course on top of that to save that. So for instance, I worked quite a bit in the restaurant industry. I worked in higher end restaurants, and I worked all the time where I was able to make quite a bit of money. And then I also worked any jobs that I could find on the internet, whether it was freelance on the computer, so use whatever skills that I had, like marketing or social media. So I would do real estate work on the line for real estate agents, do marketing and stuff like that. So that was another source of income that I had, where I was able to create my own lifestyle and my own schedule, and that allowed for me to work various other jobs. So other than restaurants and then online work, I did everything that I kind of looked into what I was interested in. So I really liked being around kids, so I did a lot of nannying or babysitting jobs, which also allowed me to kind of create my own schedule as well. So kind of look into what interests that you like to do. What are some of your passions? Do you like to be around animals? Maybe you can do dog walking. If you like to be around kids, maybe help out at a daycare or do babysitting or nannying also, or look into what skills that you have. What kind of jobs are you able to find online where you can kind of work on your own schedule. So another thing that I did was I do a lot of art. So I like to, during the holidays time, I did paintings of wine glasses or sold art. That was another way to kind of make some income as well. So these are all different ways that I was able to make quite a bit of money and save it, which is the most important part of that. Obviously, if you make money and you spend it, it's not going to, you're not going to have anything in the bank to be able to travel. So the saving is really, really key. And one of the tips that I do to help myself save the money was to always stay busy. If I was too busy, then I wouldn't be spending my money. And also to kind of create a timeline for myself and create a budget for myself. Hey, Brian, to create a budget for myself as well. So I would say, like, by this time this month, I want to be able to have X amount of dollars in my bank account, or create a separate budget just for your travels and put a portion of your income into that every week or every month or every 2 weeks whenever you get your paychecks, so that little by little it would add up and build up. So if you're focused enough and you're eager enough and you really, really want to be able to travel and you want to be able to afford it, you would find a way to do it. There's always jobs out there. There's always ways to make money. Just everyone has their own personal and interests and skills that they're able to do. So just kind of dig deep inside of that. Look online, do a lot of research, play around with certain job websites. I use Craigslist quite a bit to find seasonal jobs. So the other thing that I did is I worked a lot of seasonal jobs or temporary jobs, because a lot of people ask, like, so you're able to fund your travels, but when do you have time to go traveling if you work so much? Well, it's because I worked a lot of jobs that were seasonal or temporary, meaning that like I worked just a busy patio season for a restaurant, and then the summer ended and winter came, and they were letting some people go or people were going on vacation or whatnot. So I could either return to that restaurant or find somewhere else, or I would work promotional or seasonal jobs where it was like baseball season or sports season in particular, and I could do bartending or promotions or something like that for that season. So that too allowed me to have a lot of free time and to kind of build and create my own schedule as well. Hey Tara, thanks guys for watching. If you guys have any questions, just ask me, let me know, and I'll answer them for you, okay? So those who are just tuning in, I'm talking about how I was able to fund all my travel. So I've been to 75 countries by the age of 30, all on my own funds. And a lot of misconceptions about that is that someone paid for my travels, or I once worked a corporate job, or I made a lot of money at one point, or won the lottery, or whatnot, and none of that stuff is true. So I've just did it all the hard way, which is just work, 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 and I just got really good at finding ways to make money and to optimize on my skills and my interests, and along the way you gain a lot of skills and gain a lot of experience, so that opens a whole new door for you later down the road as well when it comes to jobs. So I was talking about before you go. So I kind of categorize these into 3 areas: before you go, during your travels, and after your travels. So the first one I was talking about was before you go. And I mentioned how important it is to maximize on your income and to minimize on your expenses, and then also save, save, save. So the maximize your income or your revenue streams, we're just finding a bunch of different jobs or finding ways to make money, putting money into the bank. And then the second one is to minimize your expenses. And that includes like ways that you can cut back on certain things and save money. For instance, I know it's difficult. Everyone has bills. I have bills. There are certain things to pay for, but there's a lot of options that you can have too. So some people choose to spend their money here versus here, and therefore they may not have extra income to go traveling on. I've kind of created a lifestyle where I'm able to just pay for the necessities, pay for what's required, pay for my bills that I need to, like phone, electric, rent, and stuff like that. But then I stayed focused on my travel budget, on my travel expenses, on my goals, my travel goals. So for instance, I didn't really go out and party very much, or I didn't have the nicest iPhones, or go shopping for the nicest designer clothes or anything like that. My focus was always on traveling and saving money and really reaching my travel goals that I wanted. So it's also up to you as well. So a lot of times it's really how much you want to do it. So that's why I always tell people that anyone's able to travel the world on any budget that you want and you have. It's always up to you to be able to do it and make it happen. Some of the ways to limit some of your expenses though are to cut back on like electricity, unplug things around the house while you're not using them. That lowers your bill a little bit. Call your phone provider, see if there's a negotiation you can do to kind of lower your phone bill. If there's a gym membership or a membership or a subscription to something that you're not using quite often, maybe cut that back or see if you can downgrade on it. Just all these little things here and there are a nice way to save money as well, to cut back on your expenses too. So that's and then also to have a plan A, plan B, and plan C. So what do I mean by that is that when you have a plan A, and if that doesn't succeed or you don't reach that goal, you don't give up and you don't go on to the next thing, or you don't go back into saying, oh, I wish I could do that, but it's not possible. If you have a plan B and a plan C, then you still have an alternative way to make that happen for yourself. And if you're really eager to do that, you would make that happen. That's why I think a plan A, plan B, and plan C is always really, really important when it comes to trying to reach and achieve your travel goals or any goals that you have in life too. Because obviously, not everything is that easy to do, or things may fail, or problems may come along, or roadblocks or whatnot. But if you're already prepared on how to work around that or work through that, then that makes the process a little bit more easier for you and keeps you motivated to keep on going. So really the first part is all about money management, making money, managing your expenses and increasing your income, and then saving your money. And I always like to say too is to try to exceed your budget. So when you set a goal, you set a budget, try to go over that. So that's what I always like to do too. So when I would work and I would say, oh, I'm making X amount of money and by next week I should have this much, then just push it a little bit more, saying what if I made like this much, what if I made $500 more or $1,000 more. And then when you keep pushing yourself, you kind of get this thrill of like, how much more can I save, how much more can I make, and then it just gets you even more motivated to keep on going and keep on striving to reach that goal. And also it allows for you to have cushion. What do I mean by cushion is that when you travel and you set a budget, it's always really important to make sure that you have a little bit of a cushion for yourself, because you may come through some problems, or like a delayed flight or a canceled flight, or expenses for an emergency, or whatnot, which has happened to me quite a few times. So I was always glad that I had a little bit of wiggle room in my budget that allowed for that to happen, or for me to afford that, and not getting bummed out about it, not getting stressed or anything about that too. So when you kind of exceed a little bit over your budget, you allow that to be a little bit of a cushion too within the budget that you set for your travels as well. So then I want to go on to the second part, which is during your travels. During your travels, okay, for me, people always think that I work and I travel. I haven't. I've never worked while traveling. I write a travel blog, but I don't actually generate revenue from that, and that's by choice. I've never worked hard enough to be able to make money from it. It wasn't really something I ever really want to do. With my travel blog, I just really enjoyed genuinely helping people travel, and to share my tips and my experiences and what I've learned. So that was what I used through my travel blog. So I've never made money while I was traveling, but there are a lot of ways to do so. So if you're someone who's saying that to yourself, that I would really feel more comfortable, or really enjoy working while traveling, it would allow me to travel longer or make me feel better about affording my travels, there are many options for you. So I know a lot of friends and a lot of people who do make money while they travel in different ways, so I can share that with you also. So again, for me, I personally chose not to travel during I travel quite a bit, and not to work during my travels. And also I just like to enjoy my time as I'm traveling too, and that allowed me to kind of get everything that I was looking for out of traveling versus focusing on work. But like I said, it's definitely doable. A lot of people do it. A lot of people enjoy it, is working while you travel. And so I'm going to tell you some of the ways that you can do that too. So I categorize those into a few things. For one is freelance work. The second one is something called woofing. The third is just an exchange, like hostel exchange. And fourth is to be your own boss. And 5 is blogging or video blogging. So I'm going to talk about what those all are. So the first one is freelance work. So what this is just finding what skills that you have, what interests you have, what you're good at, and finding work online to be able to do that. There's quite a bit of websites out there where you can find work like this, such as Upwork.com, or on Craigslist, or many websites. Helpx is another one. So you can look on there and say, I'm good at being a personal assistant, so you can be a virtual assistant, which is quite popular these days. Or you can say, I'm good at managing social media accounts, and you can find a company and work for and manage their social media accounts. So there's quite a bit of ways that you can do that, depending on what skills that you have and what interests that you have too. So then the second one is, and that's called freelance work, and that's really popular. It kind of leads one thing into another. It builds upon your skills, and that's one of the main ways that people work remotely these days, which means work from anywhere in the world, on your own schedule, from a computer, on your own time frame. The second one is woofing. So what the heck is woofing? Woofing is, it stands for the Worldwide Organization Organic Farming. And what that means is, it's people who can go through this organization to different places in the world, and in exchange for accommodations or food, and sometimes a bit of pay, usually there's pay, to exchange work on a farm. Or I have quite a few friends who've done this before, and some of them have worked in like a tomato factory or apple orchard or something like that, picked fruit, or on an organic farm. And that's a nice way for them to get some time to see a certain place and to enjoy their travels, but also be able to afford it. They can get accommodations, food, and like I said, sometimes pay for it too. And that's woofing. The third one is accommodations, exchange in your hostels. And what does that mean? Is that a lot of times this doesn't actually make you money, but it's a nice way to save you money. So what a lot of people do is they can contact a hostel and ask, hey, I'm going to be there for X amount of time. Can I clean or work in your hostel or at your front desk for exchange for accommodations? And a lot of times the hostels will say yes because they like the free help. So that's a nice way too to kind of have accommodations and to save some money in your budget on accommodations as well. So then the fourth one is to be your own boss. So you can create your own business. Kind of look into what you're interested in, what your passions are, what you like to do, what you're good at, what your goals are for yourself as a career. And that's kind of what I did. I knew that the travel industry was my passion, but I wasn't quite dead set on what career within that I wanted. So I kind of created this lifestyle for myself and the business of my own so that I can be my own boss, work from anywhere in the world, and to help others and to live out my passion, my travel goals and dreams as well, and by helping others too. So that's another part of my business I'm going to be helping and talking about too, is how to learn how to be able to build your own business and be your own boss as well. And the fifth one is blogging and video blogging, which is what I talked about or mentioned before. A lot of people do blogging. There's thousands of travel bloggers out there, or bloggers in general, especially in the travel industry. A lot of them make money, a lot of them don't make money, and it's actually not that easy to make money, and you don't always generate the most revenue. So it kind of depends it's up to you of how much time do you want to spend doing it and how much are you looking to actually make from it. So if the pay isn't really worth it to you, then maybe you should just enjoy your travels and just enjoy writing versus trying to do all like the pedaling in the background of figuring out how you're able to generate revenue from your blog or your video blogs as well. So that's completely up to you too. So again, I talked about first before you go on your travels, how to maximize your income and your revenue, how to decrease or limit your expenses, and then to save. And the second part was during your travels, the 5 areas that you can generate revenue or work while you're traveling, which were freelance work, woofing, accommodation or hostel exchange for work, being your own boss, or blogging and video blogging. And then lastly, I want to talk about is after your travels. So what happens after you travel, and how can you sustain a lifestyle where you're able to travel continuously like I have? So what I do, another misconception that I get is that people think that I make money, travel, go broke, and come back home and work, and that's not the case. I wouldn't let that happen to me just because it's so stressful to not have money, right? No one wants that. So I would never put myself in that position. That's why I always have a certain budget range when I travel so that I kind of gauge where I'm at within that. So so what do I mean about after your travels? So that includes how to not go broke, saving again, always using that plan A, plan B, and plan C, or create a new one for when you return. Kind of do a little bit of research sometimes before you return home so that you have some options out there. Reach out to employers or kind of figure out where your mind's at of what you want to do, how long do you want to be home for, do you want to keep traveling, is travel something that you really just kind of want to just keep as like an occasional thing, a vacation kind of thing, or is it something you really want to integrate into your lifestyle? I always say that life is yours. You can mold it however you want to. You can make it however you want to. And it's all up to you. It's up to the efforts you put into it. It's the decisions that you make, the choices that you make, the opportunities that you seek, and the effort that you put into it. So it's completely up to you. So there's always ways that you can travel the world on any budget of your own. There's always ways that you can find work beforehand, during travels, or afterwards. Dig deep, do some self-reflection, and see what you're good at, what your passions are, what you enjoy doing, what your goals are, what your long-term, short-term life goals are, your travel goals are, and kind of get that all into play and help you figure this all out for yourself, and see just what works for you. So those are just some of the things that I did to be able to fund my travels, and I kind of just did that on a loophole. So I just would go back to, or in a loop, I would do the same things. I would go back to seasonal work, temporary work. I would just find what worked for me. I would when it comes to rent, I would always make sure that my lease was up or sublet my apartment so I wasn't having a big expense while traveling, because that can take a big bite out of your budget in general, your expenses in general. So that would help quite a bit too, because I always look at things as a comparison to a price of a flight to another country. So like this rent here could be a flight or two to this country. That's how my mind has just kind of come into keep on working over the years, because I've traveled so much, and that it just became a second nature of finding deals and ways to travel and ways to fund my travels. So if you guys have any other questions on funding, on how I was able to make money, pay for things, and again, in one of my videos that I posted last week, I gave quite a bit of my travel hacks that I use. And in the first video I posted, I talked about my 5 key elements that I use to be able to travel travel on any budget, which were money management, travel hacks, mindset, spiritual purpose, and action. And when you put all of those into play, that definitely helps you be able to travel the world too. And that talks about money management, funding, travel hacks, which are ways to save money, mindset, making sure you're in the right mind place to be able to set goals, accomplish goals, keep on going, work through things, overcoming fears and anxieties, spiritual purpose, which is to be able to get everything that you gained out of that. And that also goes into my third one, which was after your travels, is to use what you learned in your travels to be able to um, shape and mold your goals and your mindset. Help what you learned on your travels dictate and guide you where you want to go in your next phase in your life. And that's what I definitely did with my travels. I learned so much and I experienced so much, and it helped me gain clarity and focus on what kind of life I wanted, my career path, and what I like to do and everything. So again, I want to thank you guys all for watching my videos. Please stay tuned. I have quite a bit of really exciting news coming up, which I'm going to be launching my website, sahararose.travels.com, very soon. It's going to have so much great and useful information on there. Everything that I know and learned is on that website. And I'm also going to be releasing the pre-launch of my first course, and I'm going to be launching a set of courses where I'm going to be able to teach you everything that I know and help you in particular figure out how you can integrate more travel into your life, afford travel, and be your own boss, create your own business, or live a life where you're financially, time, or spiritually free, and that you can work from anywhere in the world on any budget or on any time frame. So again, please like my videos, share my videos, like my Facebook page, Sahara Rose. If you have any questions or anything, please let me know. I will answer them for you. And stay tuned for more really informative videos, because I'm really excited to be able to help all of you and to share my information. And thanks, guys.